Good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. I am so pleased to have with me Abby Carter. Abby, say hey.
Hey.
Actually, say hi in French.
Bonjour, bonsoir, depending on where you are and what time it is.
Well, that is so rich. And we are promoting the Cultivating Wealth and Creativity in the South of France retreat. Yeah, it's happening October 19th through 26th. That's a week. And we are going to absolutely enjoy ourselves with regard to French culture. Abby is our host, and Abby owns the retreat center, which is a chateau. She's going to tell us a bit about that. And she has completely renovated this chateau in the past year and a quarter, year and a half. And I couldn't be more excited to see it firsthand because I've been keeping track with her YouTube channel. So we are going to gather together 10 of us, and we are retreating, which is a wonderful opportunity, especially post-pandemic, for women, in this case, to bond, right? Person to person in a way that is unlike a webinar, certainly, and yet to be in a different location. And for some of us, the language is a different language than our first language, and to be able to soak in the culture. So it's about cultivating wealth and creativity. Now, Abby's going to speak a little to the creativity and certainly a lot to the ambience of the chateau and the location. And yet I'm going to be leading a mini mastermind of sorts. Obviously, this is going to be over 5 days. And we're addressing how mature women can create their own intentional wealth, save and secure, secure what we have and build on that in order that our later years are untethered. And that's the goal. It's the goal for us to use this tool called money to do something. And it'll be different for everyone. And so we're going to explore any past money stories that could be limiting us right now. Yeah, and they might be 15, 20 years old. They might be from our ancestors. And so I've done this with groups of women, and it's resulted in powerful breakthroughs, literally transformations. And I seek nothing less than that, especially when we're in this gorgeous environment in the south of France, enjoying the cheeses, as we're all hearing about now, and the wines and the food and the fellowship, if you will, of women that are intentional about experiencing life, getting the most and packing the most life into our moments. And I say that now, which is kind of just unintentional. And yet Abby comes to us as a widow, a young widow who lost her husband in the World Trade disaster. Now, if you want to look at a person and you want to experience a woman who is absolutely, with complete tenacity, busted through barriers and worked through her grief, you're looking at her, Abigail Carter. Now, Abby is no one pony show. She is an accomplished author. Her first book, The Alchemy of Loss, is a book that she wrote, a young widow's transformation after she lost her husband, Aaron. And then she wrote a second book, Remember the Moon, best-selling author, and the woman paints. This woman has talent oozing out of her pores. You are definitely going to want to fly to France. Just read Abby and experience her. And so, Abby, talk to us about the fact that we're inviting you to share with us, and really hoping you're going to share with us in one of the workshop sessions a little bit about writing, right? Because you're an excellent writer. And then another one, a little bit about sketching and painting, which is going to really round out the financial kinds of tips and tools that I'm going to share. So talk with us a little bit about that and what you envision for the retreat.
Yeah, well, I like that you called it sort of the creative, that you've put the creativity into the title of the retreat. Just because, I think as women, we have such a strange relationship sometimes with money, and we're not supposed to talk about it. And yet, when we kind of do, as you say, bust through these sort of blocks that we have around money that we've probably grown up with,
Yes.
it provides a freedom. And that freedom kind of walks hand in hand with creativity. And it's almost like, you kind of have to find your creativity in order to bust down the blocks. It's, you know, because artists have the same blocks, right? I mean, artists can't become real artists until they have busted down these blocks. And so it's kind of the same, it's the same kind of mentality when it comes to finances. So whether it's finances or, you know, creativity or whatever it is, you know, honestly, we're usually our own worst enemy. We get in our own way, right? When it comes to this kind of thing. So, you know, this whole chateau was kind of an exercise in this, right? I mean, it made no logical financial sense whatsoever to run out to France 2 years ago and just go like, yeah, I'm going to buy a chateau in France, right? Like, no normal financial advisor would tell me this was a good idea. And you know, and yet they supported me. Like they saw, you know, like people saw the potential in this. And here I am. And now I'm, you know, I'm hosting these retreats, and kind of Bob's your uncle is like, if you watch my YouTube channel, I say that a lot.
Yes.
Thank you, Wanda, one of my volunteers. She always says. So so yeah, you know, what I hope to impart to people coming is this idea that, you know, it's going to be kind of unlocking stories. So the writing aspect is going to be kind of unlocking the stories around money.
Yep. There you go.
Specifically. So that will be really interesting, because I think we tell ourselves stories about money, and we have these, you know, these little voices in our heads. Where are those coming from? Who are they? What are they saying? And just being aware. So a lot of it is just awareness. So that I really look forward to sort of exploring. And then the other part I look forward to exploring is kind of just more the actual, you know, like getting your hands dirty, because there's a freedom in that, right? Like it's just like, you know, and making mistakes, and like it doesn't matter what you produce, it's the process of producing it. And that's really the fun of doing art. So it's really just, it's not really art for becoming an artist or anything. It's really just to get your hands dirty and have a lot of fun and laugh.
Well,
So,
we're gonna totally laugh with you, because you have a great sense of humor. And like, if anybody wants to pop over, and you will, to Abby's YouTube channel, you'll see her unabashedly showing herself, you know, covered tip to toe with mud because the pipe burst. I mean, the woman is absolutely transparent. And how could you learn from anybody more accomplished? And this mistakes, you say mistakes, and I kind of harbor a preference for missteps, right? Because mistakes kind of like put the stake in the ground. All right, we did that. How horrible. And the missteps connotes we're still walking, right? There's still movement.
Yeah.
And so we're moving through life and creating it as we go. And you have done so with such aplomb, with such unbelievable creativity. I so honor you for that.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
So what we're going to do, Abby taught herself French. Let's get serious. And her neighbors and everyone accept that. And, you know, the French are kind of like a little bit about, you know, people speaking French that aren't from France. So that should tell you a whole lot.
That's actually a misnomer, Deb. Most French people, if you try to speak French, that makes real inroads for French people. Like they're super honored when you do that. So
well, then I own that, because I had a woman, dear friend, who was a French professor, and you know, and so admittedly now I'm going back probably 12 years. My bad. All right. So everybody brush up on a little French. I mean, come on. Yeah. So
bonjour goes a long way. Just saying hello. And you don't start any conversation in French without starting with bonjour.
All right, everybody, listen up.
Good to know.
Very good to know. Because some of us will be maybe spending a day or two in Paris or Toulouse before we get to the retreat center. So let's just talk about logistics for a second. We're going to start on Saturday, which means everyone from the United States, for example, or abroad, is going to want to obviously fly in start the previous night. Abby, tell them where is a good place. I know you had an email. We'll repopulate that email to stay for an extra night before, in the case that the airlines get a little bit back up.
Right. So the retreat starts on the 19th. So if you're coming from the States, you'll have to leave on the 18th to get here on the 19th.
Yeah.
But what I generally recommend is if you are able to come a few days before, and there's a couple of options. You can fly directly to Paris, and from Paris, there is a high-speed train, the TGV. So you get a train from Paris to Agen, and I will come pick you up in Agen if you let me know when you get in. There's sometimes is a stopover in Bordeaux, and so you'd have to change trains in Bordeaux, but sometimes they go right through, so you just have to pay attention to that. So that way you could spend a few days in Paris and then hop on the TGV and come to Agen on the 19th. The other opportunity is to fly to Toulouse. And from Toulouse, the train is just an hour. So spend a few days in Toulouse and then hop on the train on the 19th and come to Agen. And then alternatively, you can fly to Bordeaux. And again, train's about an hour and a half from Bordeaux. So Bordeaux is gorgeous. Bordeaux is kind of like the Paris of the South. Like, it's incredible.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful city. So you kind of have a bunch of options. You know, I'm really equidistant between Toulouse and Bordeaux, which is handy. So yeah, if you can, you know, if you can spare a few days, come a bit early, and then you won't be quite so jet lagged by the time you come here. And then you know, sort of days are like, obviously on arrival day, it's going to be just all day, people arriving, coming and going. And we generally have sort of a meeting, a kind of coming together in the evening, you know, sort of cocktail hour. We do a little apéro. We do a little apéro every day, which is kind of like, it's become my thing.
I'm looking
Like,
forward to
oh,
that.
it's apéro hour. And if it's nice outside, we do it outside. And if it's not, we do it in the Grand Salon here. And it's just a really nice way to come together. And then we will have dinner here at the chateau. I will have a chef here for all of our lunches and dinners, which will be super fun. Then a lot of the days we'll also have a yoga teacher here, Haley, who's really fun and just has this really lovely energy. And she'll be doing yoga every day from 8 to 9, and then we'll have breakfast, and then from sort of 10 or so, 10 to 11, 11:30, 12, we'll be doing workshops either with Deb or with myself. And then we'll either be having lunch or we'll be going on an excursion. And we have some fun excursions. One is going to Château Le Douce, where my friend Diane is a chef from Chicago. And her chateau is gorgeous. Her and her husband Eric run the chateau as a B&B. They do weddings.
Is it Eric Sommier?
He is kind of, not technically, but
He
yes.
knows a lot about wine.
In practicality, he loves to talk about wine. He loves to talk about many subjects, but wine is a big one. And so Diane will do a little cooking demo, and then we'll have lunch, which is really fun. And then we'll also be doing a visit of Agen, just so that you have an opportunity to see the town, do some shopping if you want. I'll take you to the cathedral. There's an art museum that right now is not in the art museum because it's being renovated, but it's in a really pretty church. Then we'll be having dinner at a really nice hotel on one of the later days, probably on the Thursday. Yep. So yeah, just a really lovely restaurant dinner. There's some really great restaurants here. Obviously, we're in France. And then we'll also go to Lecture, which is a beautiful town, not too far away. And they have a Friday market. And so it'll be a really fun market day. And as well, they have a whole bunch of antique shops. And then they have this huge area. It was once a monastery, and it's a whole kind of courtyard and shops, all different. It's all different proprietors, but it's just a huge mall of brocanting, which is sort of the it's kind of like a combination of a antique market and a flea market. So, you know, you find anything from really beautiful antiques to just pure junk, but that's part of the fun. And this entire house has been furnished by just my going to brocants. Everything I bought here pretty much has been from a brocante, which has been really fun. And then we'll be doing this tour. So also in Lecture is, it's called the Blue Museum. And they make this blue dye, not unlike indigo, but they make it with woad flowers, which is kind of like indigo. It's a really amazing process where they, you know, they boil these flowers down. And interestingly enough, the flowers are yellow.
Oh my gosh.
But it turns into a blue dye.
This
And
adds to the creativity of the retreat, I'm just saying.
They have a little gift shop there, but they explain, you know, they show us all the vats and how they're boiling this dye, and, you know, and they dye all the, you know, they dye wool, and they dye shirts, and they dye all kinds of stuff. It's really cool. So, so yeah, that's pretty much the extent. There's going to be a sommelier who comes to the house, probably on the Sunday night. So you'll learn a little bit about wine, which is really fun, and he's a really lovely guy. So yeah, just kind of gives you an overview. And as I say, aperos are a big hit, my favorite. And lots of croissants. I run out every morning and get fresh croissants for our breakfast. So
right. Now, are the figs going to be in season?
Hard to say, possibly. It's getting a little late. Like figs kind of come like end of August, beginning September. So usually, I think mine are usually done by then, but you know, it just depends. Some fig trees are more in the shade. I don't know. Yeah. But there'll be lots. It'll probably still be melon season. They're really big in the melons that time of year. I don't know.
The farmer's market in Agen is very marked and plentiful. So we'll
and we can go to the farmer's market. There's one on Wednesdays, so that was the day we have kind of planned to go to the farmer's market and then do Wednesday shopping in Agen and that kind of thing. So yeah, so it should be a really fun week. It's a really great way of really meeting like-minded people, having a lot of fun, laughing, eating really well, and yeah, learning a little bit about finances and creativity.
Well, thank you. And I am just tickled pink to have discovered that you bought the chateau and were renovating it. And I think I said to you right then, Abby, when you're done with that, I'm over there. Here you go. So I am completely holding up the idea of retreat, of getting away, taking ourselves out of the routine, if you will. And sometimes that's exactly what we need, is a break state. And so we'll break state from our busyness and our, you know, whatever in our lives that are, you know, kind of keeping us perhaps in a lesser capacity than what we have the ability to be, what we might imagine ourselves to become. And I will be bringing in the prowess. I mean, 42 years I practiced as a certified financial planner and asset manager, was Abby's certified financial planner for a number of years after the tragedy. And I do know how to talk with women in particular about money. And the horrible socialization that mature women have had about money is a big deal. And that's why after I sold my practice in 2020, and I'm now a financial and leadership coach for mature women, because we have challenges. We got to like lift up our head, take all that crap out of here, and then put good stuff in there. And I'm telling you, women bloom with a meteoritic speed. It is amazing. And I'm just saying, that's my experience, and I am eager to share that with you. And so you have plenty of time to tap me one-on-one throughout. We are not booking this up like every single 5 minutes is scheduled. No, we are not. We are retreating, and we are being creative and allowing for that space and that time for you to do your own work, and then to come together and maybe join with one or two. You get the idea. I think it's going to be a complete blast. We'll be exposed to all kind of beauty, not the least of whom is Abby Carter. So be in touch with me or Abby directly. We will give you the emails for both of us. And we look forward to you joining us October 19th through 26th on our Cultivating Wealth and Creativity in the south of France. So until next time, everyone, look at your calendars. I don't care what's on it. Figure out how to reschedule that and join us because you will not regret that decision. Thanks so much. And we can do it, women. Let's do this.
À bientôt.